Hi everyone, it's Joshua Smetzer again. This time I'm doing case number 64. Video gaming changes the rules. I did this one because I find the topics about video games very interesting. But moving on, in the Potter box, which is definition first. So the case study starts talking about Grand Theft Auto series, which is a good example of how video games are commonly viewed. They are well liked, successful, and contentious. Wow, big words. When Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in September 2013, it sold $1 billion in 3 days, making it the biggest entertainment game ever. I like how they compared this to James Cameron's Avatar, which sold 60 million copies in the same time frame. Moving on, though, in addition, critics criticized Grand Theft Auto 5 for its extreme violence and misogynistic depictions of women, just as they did with the other games in the same series. They also talk about Fallout New Vegas, which takes place in Nevada in an alternate reality long after nuclear war. The political struggle for regional dominance between factions like Caesar's Legion, a bloody tyrannical emperor, the new California Republic, which is a corrupt democracy, and Mr. House, a hyper rational homegrown dictator. Um, it is detailed in the game's elaborate political backstory. The player controls a character who must select a supporting faction. It would be simple to leave the game's description at that, but the player would be supporting totalitarian terror by fighting for Caesar, except, of course, that there is not an actual Mojave wasteland after the apocalypse to terrorize. In Fallout, killing a tribe of innocent citizens results in the death of absolutely like no living people in the real world. They then go on to talk about in the case about World of Warcraft, which is an MMO, which is massively multiplayer online game that lets hundreds of thousands of players interact with one another in the same fictional world at the same time. So in the case study, numerous players join bunches, groups, you can say, called guilds that by and large work together on finishing missions or battling different societies. So going on with this in real life, a guild member passed away in 2006. Her World of Warcraft guild held a funeral party to remember her passing. However, that event took place in a game mode that allowed players characters to attack and kill one another. So an opponent organization chose to make a move to snare their foes and went during the memorial service. The incident was recorded by the attackers. The video was widely shared after being uploaded to YouTube. So moving on to the values, I think the purpose of this is if there are ethical values when it comes to video games. There's a lot of studies that violent video games can change brain function and desensitize people to violence happening in video games, making more people susceptible to violence. And at the end of the case, the author even talks about, is it even possible to apply normal ethical guidelines to game playing? So moving on into principles, I see this as utilitarianism and Kant's categorical imperative. I believe this case study is hard because none of this is real life. So when thinking of utilitarianism, which is undergoing actions that add the greatest benefit to the majority, did the rival gang in World of Warcraft use this? Definitely not. But do they have to? Do they have to because it's an online game with little to no real world consequences? Kant's category imperative talks about freedom of will, which is, I believe, most gamers will always use. It's an online game. I don't see a problem with people doing what they want in them. Moving on finally to loyalties. I didn't see any, and I hope I don't get counted off for that, but there really were no sides. Actually, there are sides. There's a side of people wanting respectful interactions in these online worlds and people that don't care in the end. If that makes any sense? I hope it does. Well, that's it for me. Thank you for watching.